Hi all, welcome to another Rastermace painting video. So here I'm going to go over cleaning your airbrush again. So the more I've been using it, the more I've learned. So I just wanted to impart some of those techniques. So I've got some paint in my brush and I'm just giving it a clean out. If those of you are new to the airbrushing, this will help you. You just need clean water, spare cup, until you've cleaned out all the excess paint before you start blowing through. And then once it's all clean, just blow through into your cup till you've got a nice clean brush to work from. So now getting a little bit more technical, a lot of this you're going to be doing as and when you're working. So this is a cleanup process that I do regularly throughout the day. This is not something you need to wait till the evening. You'll start to notice that your brush is spraying a little bit differently. So I started by unscrewing the front cover and then the rear cover, which protects the needle. And there's a little notch to loosen, which will let you pull it out. So pull your needle out and give it a nice wipe with either a baby wipe or a tissue. Always work towards the front and be careful of your needle. So here's a little trick that really helps your needle to perform much better over time, and your needles will get better the more you do this. So I've got a sponge sanding pad. Now this is really fine abrasion. This is not like something you'd sand a wall down. It's almost like just sponge. This is a worn piece I'm using. You could use a model polishing compound with a cloth, which would have the same effect. And now what you're doing is you're creating a much smoother needle for your paint to flow over. So once you've done that, we want to address this little nozzle at the front of the airbrush. Now this is the piece that most often causes the problems while you're spraying. As you can see, it's a tiny little hole, and I'm just going to put that down for a second, and I'm going to grab a handy little tool which I have for cleaning inside the nozzle and inside the actual shaft. It's an old needle, so this is not a needle I'm using. This is a needle I purely use to clean. So now I'm going to use the flat end and I'm going to push into the opening. Now there can sometimes be a little ring of built up dried paint around the inside of this ring, and that will clog and make it much harder for the paint to pull through over your needle. So use the flat end, and you'll push it and you'll break that out, and that's the only real way of getting that dried paint out of that hole. Sonic cleaners will not break that down. You need to actually push that out. There'll be like a little a thread from the inside, and it can get caught in that. So as you pulling it out, you will get dry paint debris. As you can see, I'm picking it out with the needle. You can blow out, you can wash out, you can have a little cleaning brush, but that's one of the real problems. And the more you use your brush, you'll start to understand, I need to have a clean, it's not spraying right. Then I turn my needle around and I use the pointy end, and this is to go into the actual nozzle. Now be careful you don't stab your fingers, because this is a little bit of a time consuming, and what you're doing is you're rubbing the sharp end of the needle all the way around the inside of this nozzle, and you will find like very tiny build up of paint, but as you keep scraping, suddenly you'll end up with a little paint sausage pushing out of the top of dried paint, and that's reducing the diameter for the paint to flow through by it's hundredths of a thou. But when you're dealing with liquid, hundredths of a thou is a massive blockage. So now that I've got that all clean, I'm going to screw that back on. I don't use spanners. Finger tight is tight enough. When you use the spanners, it's not hard to snap the actual nozzle. So put your original needle back in. Careful, yeah, if you feel resistance, it's because you're not putting it in right. Tighten your base and we'll start to reconstruct our airbrush. So that's your front tip screwed back on, again only finger tight. Cup's gone back on. Oh, nearly. And screwing the cover over the actual needle release mechanism. And the air guard on the front. There you go, clean airbrush. So let me give you a little tip, which I've been doing recently. Take your air cover off, and spraying without the air cover will give you a much finer, more controlled spray. You can literally paint tiny little lines, but as you're working, it also allows you to dampen a little brush and keep cleaning the tip of your needle, which will dry out whilst using it a lot. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you join me again soon for another video. One love.